Engage in constructive dialogue with healthcare providers. If there is anything that must be upheld in this Republic of Kenya, it's public participation. You cannot come up with a fee on a level 4 hospital ambayo ni kidogo. You say 700,000 per year. That fee will be transferred to the common mwananchi. It is just logical. If you charge a level 2 dispensary 200,000 single business permit, it will be transferred to an orphan, an elderly person, and a vulnerable person. So we are asking the county government of Mombasa and all counties that are levying these unconstitutional, unlawful fees to cease immediately.
We, private hospital owners, we provide 80% of services in this county and in the country. So we are not stakeholders who can just be wished away. We provide 80%. So if we provide 80% of the services, surely it is in the interest of the President of Kenya and the governor that universal healthcare succeeds.
We are supporting transition from NHIF to SHA, but addressing the Social Health Authority. You cannot say today you have released 3.7 billion shillings and you announce it in the press, and then providers are waiting 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. Even today, the money that was announced that has been released, only about 1.3 billion has arrived.
Lake Region Economic Bloc governors have demanded timely county funds disbursements to actualize the intended purpose of devolution at the grassroots level and prevent the paralysis or sabotage of devolution. Speaking at the second day of the 12th Economic Bloc Summit at Alupe University in Busia County, Governor James Orengo of Siaya, Governor Fernandez Baraza of Kakamega, and Governor Paulo Tuoma of Busia County noted that the counties were struggling to fund projects and pay pending bills due to delayed disbursement of funds from the government. This delay, the governors say, now threatens the main objective of devolution.
Initially, counties were supposed to get more than 4 billion, and it ended up being 387 billion out of a 3 trillion shilling budget. I think there's a paltry sum if you look at the constitutional responsibilities and mandate in agriculture, health sector, and roads. Just doing one good bridge, if you know the cost of just doing one bridge, it gets into hundreds of millions. So I don't want to be the carrier of bad news, but I think this debate and is a political question, a constitutional question. We must continue to fight for the counties.
We are looking at efficiency in the Office of the Controller of Budget. We'll continuously call out that office so that we eliminate the bureaucracies and inefficient that office to facilitate a release of funds. I know most of the counties haven't received their September equitable share and October, despite the fact that the money is CRF. We don't want at the end of the financial year to be called out for not spending the money, and yet the Office of the Control of Budget is the one that has problems.
We have been having floods in Budalang even sometimes when there is no rain. You just see water coming. There is no rain, but the water is coming. Last year we had almost a whole ward, 40,000 people displaced. Hakuna mvua, so when you tell people that we are having an emergency, they could not understand. I know that emergency at national level is domesticated in the office of the deputy president. And I remember I tried to raise the issue with the national disaster team. And they were saying there are no rains in Busia, but we were having floods. And all the crops were swallowed. Because whatever they do upstream affects us here downstream.
Project. I therefore would like to appeal to the Senate, the National Assembly, and the Council of Governors to review this instrument of development called private partnership, private-public partnership.
Pan-African leaders from Kenya have continued agitating for drive towards the realization of common tariffs for the larger African continent. Speaking at an academic forum at the University of Nairobi aimed at integrating academia with the clarion call on Pan-Africanism, Tana River Senator Danson Mungatana, who's a member of the Pan-African Parliament, has lauded efforts made by the East African region in removing inter-border cumbersomeness in transacting business, while the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Dr. Korir Sing'oei, has emphasized on the need for positioning Nairobi as a premier capital multilateral center.
We have to have, at the end, a platform where African countries can trade, where you can go from here with your Kenya shillings, you are able to buy stuff in Senegal, you are able to buy stuff in Uganda, you are able to go to Somalia and trade, not the dollar or the euro or the yen. So in our monetary affairs, we are trying to struggle to see what we can do. And so far, in the Western African region, there is a platform that has been created, and they are trying to popularize that. In East Africa, we are still struggling because we are still, the common currency here is still the dollar. Although you can exchange easily, if you have Kenya shillings, you're in Uganda or Tanzania, you can easily exchange, but still, when you are trading, we are using foreign currency. So from our Monetary Affairs Committee, our struggle is to make sure eventually we will establish a central bank or a bank that will be able to handle all our activities and then have a currency that will be able to allow trade across Africa.
Guest of honor, I just want to say something about the committee I sit in. I sit in the Committee of Trade, Customs, and Immigration. A committee that looks at, first, what will unite Africa. We said, if we want to be united, break the borders that we were given by colonialists. For you to break the borders, you can only cross a border if you are carrying something. So we want to have trade as the key to integrating Africa. And for that trade to take place, we must have free movement of people and free movement of goods. Because if you are sending your goods to Lagos, you must follow at some point. So one of the areas of focus, chief guest, is that one passport for Africa.
Machakos County Governor Wavinya Ndeti has fired a warning to senior officials in her government that they will carry their own cross should they indulge in corruption and other malpractices. Speaking after witnessing the swearing in of a new health executive, Justus Kasivo, Wavinya reminded county ministers and chief officers that they must uphold integrity as they discharge their duties to the citizens. The governor reiterated that her government will not abet corrupt practices, noting that the lines for public officers were clearly drawn by the law, procedure, and practice. The governor revealed that the health department was the executive's biggest consumer of both recurrent and development expenditure, accounting to about a third of the county's workforce.
I wish to reiterate, my government will not abate corrupt practices. The lines of public officers are clearly drawn by the law, procedures, and practices. Should an officer breach these lines, then I shall not hesitate to take administrative and other necessary actions against them. Health is the greatest wealth our people can find. Provision of quality, timely, and efficient and affordable healthcare service for the residents of Machakos County remains one of my top priorities in my administration. I am now encouraged that Mr. Kasivu is taking over the department at a time I am initiating rigorous reforms in the structures and service delivery. Very soon, I will be rolling out my strategy for re-engineering the health sector in Machakos County. Waziri Kasivo, your interim is already full. One of your first assignments will be steering these reforms to the highest possible standards. You must deliver. Members of the public must also not be seen to be encouraging these malpractices. The law is explicit. The giver and the taker of a bribe are equally guilty.
Now this morning en route to Arusha for the 25th anniversary celebrations of the East African Community, Prime Cabinet Secretary and the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi, made a strategic stop at the Namanga one-stop border post. This vital gateway exemplifies the spirit of regional integration and collaboration. He engaged with dedicated customs and immigration officers who work tirelessly to ensure smooth and efficient cross-border operations. Prime CS took the opportunity to commend the team for their professionalism and urged them to continue representing Kenya with excellence at this key entry point. This reinforces the government's unwavering commitment to fostering seamless trade, enhancing efficiency in border operations, and advancing regional integration. Now, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki presided over the official opening of the annual Editors Convention in Nakuru. Editors have gathered in Nakuru for the 5-day convention to share ideas in line with this year's theme of innovative storytelling that can build public trust and drive change in the digital world. Other speakers at the convention will include Nakuru County Governor Susan Kihika and Liu Zhenyu, Director for Information and Public Affairs at the Chinese Embassy.
The relationship between government and the media has often been strained and marked by distrust, tension, and adversarial interactions. The media has been cited for advancing political and partisan interests sometimes at the expense of its core mandate of being the public watchdog. It has been blamed, maybe fairly, maybe unfairly, for the deterioration of public values through the glorification of immorality, vanity, and morbidity in pursuit of the almighty shilling. On the other hand, government has been accused of frustrating the media due to its publicization and profiling of issues in society. Government has been accused of seeking to control coverage through coercion and intimidation. Government has been accused of failing to protect media freedom and the personal safety of journalists. We must bridge this divide and build a working partnership grounded on accountability and responsibility. Today, media houses are struggling to compete with non-traditional peers where integrity and standards cannot be assured. The transition to digital platforms has meant a reorientation and a recalibration, oftentimes at great cost.
A day after Nzoia Sugar factory workers fired the chairman of the board of the factory, Alfred Hangati, the farmers of the industry have supported the decision while asking the national government to appoint managers that will help the industry. And the farmers led by the chairman of the Ken farmers in the factory, Christopher Sifuna, have asked the relevant department to investigate the claims they direct to him about running the factory improperly. They have also asked the temporary management to pay farmers their claims as well as the workers' salaries if the factory is expected to continue with its normal operations, or else they will continue to disrupt the normal activities within the factory.
Ya chairman ni moja. Ukiambia wakulima na viongozi wa Bungoma ya kwamba kiwanda kinashaka vizuri na huku kiwanda kimefungwa, kimeharibika. Unasema unalipa wakulima kwa muda wa wiki 2, haulipi. Tangu mwezi wa 7 mpaka saa hii wakulima hawajalipwa. Unaambia sisi ya kwamba wafanyikazi wanalipwa mshahara full, mshahara wote. kwa mwezi, kuanzia mwezi wa pili mpaka wa saa hii wafanyikazi pia wanalia. Wewe ustahili kuwa kiongozi, ustahili kuwa kwa hiyo nafasi.
Maneno ambayo yalitendeka jana na pongezi wafanyikazi. Wakulima hata sisi tumejoka na huyo chairman ya board. Hata siki board saa hizi siki wanafanya biashara na Busibwabo, maana hawaja Busibwabo matinga zao zinakuja pande kufanya poaching ya miwa na hao waongei sijui wako kwa biashara hiyo ama namna gani. Tunaambia government ya kwamba hiyo board haiwezi kazi Nzoia.
Wafanyikazi wa Nzoia walifanya kitu kizuri kwa sisi watu wa Bungoma, kwa sababu sisi wakulima tulikuwa tunauliza chairman na boti yake ya kwamba walipe wakulima na hawafanyi vile tunawauliza. Wafanyikazi wa Nzoia waliandamana wakamtoa kwa ofisi kwa sababu hakuwa analipwa. Mimi naungana na hawa kwa ile maneno walifanya kutoa chairman na grupu yake, na nasema chairman, sisi kama wakulima tunasema bwana chairman Khangati, chua ukiwa umetolewa Nzoia usiletee watu vita atunaruti Nzoia.
Sababu sisi wakulima hatujalipwa, tunadai milioni 290. Yeye alipokuja aliuza mali yote ya Nzoia. Factory ambayo serikali ililipia 48 billion, yeye aliuza shilingi milioni 7 na akaweka kwa mfuko. Sasa mimi nasema hivi, bwana chairman Khangati na kikundi chako, you resign, utoke Nzoia as early as yesterday. Jambo la pili, iwapo Khangati utarejea Nzoia, nataka ni warai wakulima wote tusimamishe kupeleka miwa katika kiwanda cha Nzoia mpaka vile hii bodi itatolewa. Jambo la mwisho, nataka kuomba serikali, kama Khangati huwa haibi pesa akiwaletea nyinyi, nataka mumushike, sababu ushahidi huko na yeye ameibia kampuni.
Now to the sports desk. Gaming and betting company SportPesa is continuing to support talent in the country with the inception of the Tujiamini monthly competition, challenging upcoming athletes in all disciplines. The latest winner in the draw is Leon Saldido, a Mombasa-based amateur cyclist who bagged the gold award that saw him take home a cash prize of 5,000 Kenyan shillings. Speaking in Mombasa when he received his check, 500,000, pardon me, speaking in Mombasa when he received his check, Saldido said the concept is a motivation to upcoming athletes and the win will help him acquire the much needed equipment that will catapult him to riding professionally in major competitions around the globe. Saldido has prospects to compete internationally in his roster as he will take part in the Spinneys Dubai 92 Cycle Challenge in February next year. Abdulaziz Mubarak, Saldido's cycling coach at Buffalo's Cycling Club, said the goal for any athlete is to represent their nation at the international level.
Cycling, I've been cycling since I was a kid, but I had no interest in competitive cycling. I was into football so much, yeah. So during COVID is when I was in high school. When coming back, my dad had bought a bike for him to, tour around the estate.
Leon has been training with my club, Buffalo Cycling, for this is the second year. This is the second year, and when he joined the club, he was a very strong athlete, but a little unpolished. So over the last better part of a year, we've been working on the basics, working on the fundamentals, and we've seen very good results.
Leon applied under the gold category for Tujiamini. In Tujiamini, there are basically two sides, the Giamini side and the Chazadimba side. So in the Giamini side, there are three categories of gold, silver, and bronze, where in gold you win 500,000, silver up to 5 people can win 100,000, and 80 people win 10,000 shillings nationally every month. So Leon applied under the gold category for 500,000 shillings.
All right, we wrap it up at that point tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you're up to speed and up to date with what is making headlines across the country. Now, it's really raining within these parts of the country, so keep warm as well. Okay, see you tomorrow, same time, same place. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Blessed night.
You are watching EBN TV, transforming your world. You are watching EBN TV, transforming.
Nakalia kiti cha naibu wa kwanza wa mwenyekiti wa taifa. Nimewatumikia wote watu wa KANU zaidi ya miaka 13. Kupitiana na katiba ambao mumepitisha siku ya leo, kiti hicho cha First National Chairman hakiko. Na kama mnavyojua, nilikuwa nimesema nitasimamia baina ya mojawapo ya vile viti 4. Na ninajua wengi zaidi mlitaka nisimame, si ndio? Ngoja, there come a time when the nation is more important than an individual. It is because of that consideration and in consultation that I say I shall not offer myself for any position. I can see many of my supporters are unhappy, but you'll prove me right in the future. Asante.
Lieutenant Frank Grimes of Chicago Police Department. Are you the man in charge?
That's right.
Well, who am I speaking to?
John Q.
I assume since all the doors are locked, this is a hostage situation. Is that correct?
Okay. Bless me, Father, for I've sinned. I know you do things your own way.
Blood pressure is dropping fast. He's going into cardiac arrest.
But I don't understand.
Mike's heart is useless. He's going to need a transplant or he's going to die.
What made Mike so sick?
Transplant surgery is very expensive.
We got insurance.
There are no provisions in your policy for a procedure of this magnitude.
All right, you want money? I'll get you your money. We've recently switched carriers.
We only give assistance to patients without coverage. I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Have you tried Medicaid?
No, you don't qualify.
My son is dying. I'm broke. If I don't qualify, who the hell does?
I've done everything I can do. I'm sorry.
Please.
They are releasing him. Now you need to do something.
I'll take care of him.
Hear me? Do something.
The hospital's under new management now. Everybody does exactly what I say, nobody will get hurt. Or hurt. I want my kid's name on the donors list.
This is going to end up bad for you, John.
Police will do whatever is necessary to preserve the lives of these hostages.
Well, they're telling me I gotta take my son home and watch him die.
If you could speak to John Q right now, what would you say to him? I'm there with you and you take care. 5:15, when something happens to me.
Are you praying for him, baby?
Yes, I'm praying, sweetheart. He's a good kid. You'd like him.
I am not gonna bury my son. I got a shot at this guy and I'm gonna take it. My son is gonna bury me.
Take the shot.
How's it going to end, John?
I don't know.
My name's Courtney Smith-Donnelly. I'm going to be teaching biology and science this fall. I'll also be your new cross-country coach this season.
Dad, she's right out of college, never coached before, and she doesn't know what she's doing.
We've got one goal this year. That's when the state meet.
They say you deliberately had the girls run really slow in the race. Now, why would you do that?
Because that's the only way that they're going to get faster.
Shelby, go out with me this weekend.
My dad won't let me date yet.
He doesn't have to know.
Hey, did you hear about Savannah? She started smoking weed this summer. A lot of girls smoke. The Bible doesn't say you can't. The other girls all have families and I don't. My parents divorced and I don't get to see my dad. I don't want to feel this way, but Anna is better than me at everything.
I just did what she said. Give me a break.
Where are the other girls?
They quit.
I don't know about this woman.
Neil Sims has already talked to the principal and the board.
You guys are going to get killed next week.
I'm asking you to trust me and remember the goal. Make a fist like this. We're a team. Nobody on this team quits. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. Whether you eat or drink or run, whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. Okay, that's going to take the focus off self. It's going to put on the one it's supposed to be on, and that's the Lord. What are you guys say, 10:31?
10:31!
Every Saturday from 8:30 a.m.
But we should not be afraid to interpret Scripture.
Get to know the story behind the Bible. Why was it written? To whom was it written? And what was happening when it was written? Understand, get to know, learn how to properly interpret the scriptures so that you're not deceived.
In the book of Revelation, and we have started to enter into the happenings because these are things that are going to take place hereafter.
Join Pastor Felix Gavoy and his team as they go through the different books of the Bible and give you the theological interpretation of the same.
At the very introduction of the book of Revelation, the book lays clear what is contained in here.
Every Saturday from 8:30 a.m. on The Theology Show, only on EBN, transforming.